Okay, so more Warframe. Now in this video I'm going to be taking another wee look at Nekros after his recent changes in update 15.12. Now for those of you on console or who maybe don't have your very own personal loot machine, or maybe you just never bothered building Nekros because you believed he is a limited range to certain missions and he's just not your kind of frame, then maybe now is the time for you to change your mind and reconsider building him or dusting him off, because since the update I have been having a lot of fun with him and he does feel a lot better. Now the changes in question are to his Soul Punch, his Terrify and his Shadows of the Dead abilities. His Desecrate stays the same, which is good to know because it's probably the ability that most groups want him for in the first place, especially on certain missions like survival missions of course. Now his first ability, Soul Punch, has had its cast time reduced and no longer has you stuck in place as you cast it, so there is less chance of you getting hit by enemies while you ragdoll bitches across the room, especially if you're trying out some pretty cool trick shots. It's also had its sound changed I believe, which doesn't really bother me personally, but it might bother some of you guys. His second ability, Terrify, has had a really nice rework. I'm absolutely loving this ability now. As well as having its cast time reduced, it will now affect a greater number of enemies, up to 20 being the base amount, whereas it used to be 12 before. You can also recast Terrify, and once you recast it, it will ignore the enemies that already have Terrify cast on them, and it will pick out the ones that don't and it will cast it on them as well. So basically this ability has got some serious crowd control now. Its range has been slightly reduced by 5 meters, but that's not a whole lot, especially if you're doing defense missions and things like that. Now considering that Terrify also reduces the armor on enemies once it's cast, this can stack with corrosive projections, which is absolutely brilliant. Terrify, I feel now, more so than before the buff, really allows you to help down teammates or cryopods that might be in danger of going down without really worrying about getting slapped purple by enemies and possibly being put down yourself. Simply cast it and watch as the whole room turns into scared shitless enemies running around while you and your squad quite easily nuke them down. For me personally, I think the changes to Terrify are probably the nicest, but that is my own personal opinion. Now the changes to Shadows of the Dead is really nice as well. They now deal a little over double the damage of what they dealt before, and they also have got twice the health, which makes them a decent threat against enemies. Well, to a certain extent I guess. At higher levels I felt like they were a little bit just more of an annoyance to the harder enemies, and your gun will still burn enemies down faster, but they do deal a nice amount of damage and it is a lot harder to kill them. Now you can also run through your shadows now, so there's no more collision, especially if you're in small areas and you cast it in there. Next thing you find yourself stuck in a toxic cloud, or there's an aura from an Eximus around you and you can't move because your shadows have boxed you in. That's no longer the case. You can literally just run through them and get out of danger. But I'll be honest, before the buff, with Shadows your main goal was to aim for heavy gunners, bombards, the ancient infested, whereas now you can have your own personal army of nullifiers and those pain in the arse infested moes for up on a minute once you've modded correctly for duration. And with those nullifiers or infested moes, I think it makes Nekros really useful, especially to a squad. And also the fact that if you've got a few ancient healers in your shadows, then they will of course keep your squad topped up on health, which makes in turn Shadows of the Dead a really useful ability now on defense missions, more so than before the patch. I've been running around with Nekros non-stop since he received his buff, and I have to admit it is a hell of a lot easier to run with him now than it was before. I've been surviving longer, I've been just having an absolute blast, I've been really enjoying him. And for me now, I believe he's a lot more than just a survival only, desecrate only frame, which a lot of players felt about him. Not the guys who actually ran with Nekros non-stop, but the guys who didn't would have looked at Nekros as a survival only frame and one you only brought with you if you needed the desecrate ability. But now with the combination of Terrify's crowd control and the changes to his Shadows of the Dead, Nekros really is a great frame, and one that I intend personally to use a hell of a lot more. But as always, these are just the opinions of a half-drunken Irishman. I'll probably be fully drunken in a few hours. But let me know what you guys think of Nekros in his current state with the buff. Do you absolutely love him now? Do you think he's still not really a great frame? Then by all means, like I said, leave a comment, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button for more Warframe, and as always, thanks very much for watching.